tuning into BaisWave.
Good afternoon and welcome to this podcast. My name is Casper Wits. I'm a lecturer at Leiden University and I'm very honored to have a guest here today who is now on his second visit to Leiden University. This is Mr. Nam Bada from the organization PSCORE. And this organization focuses on the helping of defectors from North Korea who have arrived in South Korea. So Mr. Nam, maybe as an introduction, could you tell us a little bit more about PSCORE and what PSCORE stands for and what it does?
Hello, I'm Bada Nam, and nice to meet you, and thank you for inviting me to Leiden. I'm so excited to meet you and very honored to speaking to you. Thank you. And I'm working for PSCORE. PSCORE is an acronym for People for Successful Korean Reunification. We are founded in 2006 and we are working for mainly three sectors. One for the making better human rights conditions in North Korea. Second, for the reunification education for the younger generations. And thirdly, lastly, supporting North Korean defectors. Mostly for our program is focusing on the education program.
Okay, very interesting. Maybe very interesting for our listeners as well is that already for quite a few years, Leiden University students have done internships with your organization. So this is a collaboration that we hope to continue for a long time. Maybe as a first question, could you elaborate a little bit more about how exactly does PSCORE support North Korean defectors, for example, when it comes to education, and also what kind of challenges do North Korean defectors have when they try to pursue an education in South Korea?
When North Korean defectors arrive South Korea, what they expect and what the reality is really different. North Korean society is quite different than we expected. We expect mostly, for example, like the Westerners expect just North Korea, something different country, but it is very isolated and outside information is totally not available. And North Korean defectors, when they arrive in South Korea, they expect South Koreans are kind of a same people, we have a same language actually, and we were same country 80 years ago, and we have more than 5,000 of like history of like one family, but it is separated for 80 years. And now South Korea is more like open for the outside of the world, and North Korea is totally isolated. So in South Korean words, we accepted a lot of other languages terms. For example, like table, mic, cups, coffee, shoppings. These words we are using with the same meaning in Korea. We accepted a lot of English and French, Japanese, other language words. But in North Korea, they try to use it with the Korean words. They have their own terms. So like understanding the daily life itself is really hard for them. And also the society, for example, like when someone comes to South Korea, we paying buses or public transportation with the credit card or something, the transportation card. But it is different with North Korea. So when they come to Korea, we have 3 months of the verifying whether they are not spy or something. Then when they pass it, we have 3 months of the education program to know about how to take the public transportation or how to use bank or how to use internet. Internet access is totally not available for most of the people in North Korea. So like learning from the very basics, but it is not expected for the young or adults to know about the very basics of the society. So like the just casual talks or conversations or making relationship, everything is very hard for the North Korean defectors.
In terms of life in North Korea, I imagine quite a few people who leave there, that journey is very difficult. Also their stay then in China as refugee is often very difficult. So I imagine then if they arrive in South Korea, they're going to be quite traumatized and maybe have some kind of PTSD. Does that make life maybe even more difficult for North Korean defectors in South Korea?
Actually, a lot of North Korean borders meet with Chinese border, and usually many of the defectors used to escape through Chinese border. But when they are in China, Chinese government, they don't want North Korean escapees to stay in China or living to the other countries. China wants North Korea stay there. As a bump up between South Korea and US and Western world and their borders. So they capture North Korean escapees in China and they forcibly repatriate them to North Korea. When they repatriated, there are a lot of punishment and years of the forced labor, and sometimes totally break up their families and they jailed for several years, harsh punishments. Even though they made a success to go to China, they are still having difficulties to get the refugee status. They are not refugees. They cannot get refugee status at all. And to be honest, the UNHCR does not help at all to support them as a refugees. North Korean escapees need to find their own way to escape all the way down to the Thailand. Thailand has the UN office there. So in case they get into Thailand, they can go to South Korea, but they need to travel in China. Most surveillance country traveling inside there, it is getting harder these days. They have face recognition technologies, so get the train or traveling itself is really hard. And also they need to cross the borders multiple times, and crossing the border sounds okay in Europeans, but crossing the border in Southeast Asia, they need to cross the rivers sometimes with crocodiles living inside there, and also in danger of the shootings from the border guards. And they need to sometimes crossing the mountains and night. It is really hard for them. So during this one, they are having a lot of mental disease as well. And sometimes kids need to follow their families during this whole process, and they have some problems as well. So we are also trying to support this kind of people and cases, but it is also really hard. Some of the kids, they remember how they crossed the river and how they traveled all of these, and they really don't want to remember their journeys. They delete some of the memories of their life.
Yeah, so I can understand the challenges that people face when they arrive in South Korea. But I've noticed this is not the only thing that your organization focuses on. So you also directly try to address human rights issues in North Korea itself. So I would like to talk a little bit about one of the most recent projects you have undertaken and a publication you have worked on, which has to do with political prison camps in North Korea, and a tribunal that you've organized in Seoul in 2024 regarding this. Could you tell us more about the situation with the political prison camps in North Korea and what exactly you have done in order to address this issue?
Mm-hmm. It is political prison camp, gulag style. It is not just prison. North Korea runs big political prison camp, multiple of them, and hundreds of thousands of people are detained there. They are not just detained and do nothing at all. It is kind of big areas of the people. It is kind of big town inside there. But the people inside the political prison camp, they are the enemies of the government, enemies of the state. So they are treated like the animal, not the human beings. So they work from the very early morning until late night, and doing this for their entire lifetime. Most of the political prison camps, except 1 or 2, if they detain there, then they have no other chance to go outside. They need to be there for their lifetime, mostly detain the entire family members for 3 generations. So it is really not much thing to compare in the world. It is very unique situation in North Korea, and it is mentioned a lot from us and other North Korean human rights NGOs, but really impossible to defect or free from that political prison camp. So only some people could escape from there. The situation has not talked to the outside of the world, but there are only like handful of people could survive from the political prison camp and giving testimony of the situation. So that was mentioned on the UN's Commission of Inquiry report released on the 2014. On the UNCOI report, they recommended North Korean human rights issues into ICC or ad hoc tribunal. After that one, UN and civil society really wanted to make a real ICC or court, international court settings, but it was not possible because of the process or veto powers of the UN Security Council members, which is close to North Korea. China and Russia was not accepted it. So we wanted to have our own civil court about the crimes against in North Korea, especially for the political prison camp issues. So we made that moot trial in 2024 and wanted to shed light on this issue with the court settings, with the international judges and lawyers, and wanted to see how it could be look like in case actual like ICC or ad hoc tribunal could be happen, how supreme leaders will be responsible for the crimes against humanity and political prison camp issues.
Okay, and it's very interesting to hear, and especially important that you share this with us in this podcast, but as well tonight in this lecture that we're organizing in The Hague, which is of course the center where we have the International Criminal Court. So in addition to your project on political prison camps, another project that your organization has worked on recently has to do with cyber threats originating from North Korea, or at least North Koreans. So you've also made a publication about this over the last year. I would also like to mention that this publication, a lot of people have worked on it, including two of our students who are working on their internship with PSCORE. So that's even nicer for our students to hear, I think. But could you tell us a little bit more about your project on cyber threats and what that has to do with North Korea?
Yes, North Korea is well known for their ability on cyber crimes. But we just think that phishing cyber threats could be happen, but not that important. Or cyber crimes could be the crimes, that's it. But we want, as a human rights NGO, we wanted to focus on the cyber threats and how the human rights are violated through North Korean like state-sponsored cyber threats. Cyber threat is kind of recent issue, so international treaties or laws are not covering this issue yet. The UN Convention on Cyber Crimes accepted last year, December. It is kind of still developing issue in the world. So like none of the North Korean human rights NGOs could make this kind of report or shed light on the cyber threats and North Korean human rights. But when we see the North Korean defectors and us as well, we got a lot of threats from North Korean hackers or North Korean cyber crimes. For example, like the North Korean defectors, some of them are not telling that they are living in South Korea. They report it as a like missing or just free to somewhere, but not in South Korea. But if the defectors or any NGOs or the organization has the list of defectors and this information is taken by North Korean government, then they could see that who is in South Korea, and their family members in North Korea could get the punishment or disadvantage on their lifetime. Or sometimes they contact to the North Korean defectors living in South Korea through their family members and asking them to do some spy works or threatening them to not speaking about North Korean human rights issues. So the cyber threat is not just happening on your computer screen. It is actually related to your life. Your actual families could be threatened by the cyber crimes. That is state-sponsored issue, and most talented, smart people in North Korea, they are trained as hackers, and they are working in this field, and they are doing a lot of illicit works through cyber security. A lot of like cryptocurrency haste also exists in this field. So this is really important issue, we think. So we made this report.
I just have a hard time envisioning or seeing like how do these people, North Koreans that basically are abused in order to carry out these kind of cyber activities, like how do they live? Like are they in North Korea? Are they in other countries? Like what is their basically human rights conditions under which they have to work?
Actually, within the perpetrators of cybercrimes, the hackers and IT workers are separated. IT workers are just normal IT-related workers. They could work for some other companies and get the project fee. But the hackers are different. Hackers are what we expect, like someone really taking your cyber money or hacking your company or movie companies or even for the government offices. But it is really hard to contact to the hackers, and they really don't want to be their information interviewed and showing on the media. So it is really easy if North Korea see the news article or testimonies, then they could see who gave this testimony. So hackers are usually not having public interviews, or even for the meeting is really hard with them. But we had some interviews with the North Korean IT workers. North Korea runs the IT workers team a lot. Some of the people are expecting around 4,000 people are working, and 1,000 living in North Korea, and 3,000 working in China or other Southeast Asian countries. They try to get some money from the US companies or Japanese companies or any other companies that could raise the foreign currencies. But their working conditions are really horrible. They made the teams with the 10 or 20 people, and they are living together as a team, and they cannot go outside. They are only allowed it for 1 hour walking outside, and rest of the time they need to stay at a certain place by the team and need to work all the time. And they have a certain quota amount of money they need to earn in a month. If they cannot meet that expectations, then a lot of like humiliation or human rights violations, even sometimes beaten, like physical punishment is happening. But these people, IT workers, are, as I mentioned, they are really smart people. They were the top students in North Korea, so they got a lot of money through this. For example, like North Korea is well known for forced labor outside of the world. So they sometimes run restaurants in China or other Asian countries, North Korean restaurants. But their incomes compared to the just one North Korean IT workers, they could raise a lot of money, or sometimes they can steal a lot of the cyber monies as well. So 3,000 IT workers outside means a lot of money. They could raise a lot of money, and 90 or 95% of their incomes will be taken by the state, the party, or military-based industries. So actually, US companies or Japanese companies, when they do some outsourcing IT works, they are sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes they are funding to the missiles or nuclear programs for North Korean government. It is very big problem. So UN also knows about this issue, and they are approaching into money laundering or illegal activity issues. But we do care for the human rights violation issues. They cannot get their wages at all. They need to get the wages for the team in case they are in the Chinese territory. They have one Chinese business partner, and entire team member need to use this Chinese partner's paper account. So all the wages go to this paper account and manage it. So there's no very rare chance to get the other ways, but mostly all of the incomes are managed by the North Korean government, and these are supporting Kim Jong-un, the regime, to do some bad things, bad behaviors in the world.
Okay, yeah, I think this is especially surprising for us to hear that American companies, Japanese companies are involved in these kind of or somehow linked to these kind of activities and actually pay money like very indirectly to the North Korean state. Which sort of brings us to the point also that PSCORE, your organization, tries to spread awareness about these kind of issues. And for that, you very often traveled also to the UN in Geneva. In fact, before arriving in the Netherlands, you were there. And I remember last year too, when you visited us here, you also came via Geneva. So could you explain us a little bit more in practical terms? What do you do when you arrive with a delegation at the UN? Like what kind of meetings do you have and with whom, and what are you trying to address?
Yes, PSCORE has UN Economic and Social Council special consultative status. So we can participate many of the other UN mechanisms, but we are focusing on the human rights mechanisms, which is mostly in Geneva, Human Rights Council and other treaty bodies. But we do participate every March. Human Rights Council has 3 sessions in a year, regular sessions, and every March, special rapporteur on DPR case, human rights conditions. This special rapporteur is reporting her report every March in Geneva. So we visit there as well every March, and while we are having some campaigns there, then we are trying to make another chance to raising awareness our issue. So last year we visited Leiden, and Leiden people really welcomed us, and really successful event encouraged us to visiting us again this year, and we hope to continue this work together. And when we visit Human Rights Council Geneva, we hold our own side event to deliver what we had last year about the mood trial, and also we distributed this report, the cyber threat and North Korean human rights issues report as well. And we had the meetings with the special rapporteur on North Korean human rights and also special rapporteur on the modern day slavery. We delivered the IT workers' working conditions, and currently they have called for input for the financial sectors of the slavery workers. So we also mentioned about the IT workers' working conditions and delivered the information, and we are writing the report about it. And also we had the meetings with the working group on enforced disappearances. We had the North Korean defectors whose son has taken into political prison camp, and the victim's family lives in South Korea. So we brought her to Leiden this time and wanted to deliver her cases, her stories, and having raised awareness of this issue, how North Korean government is doing crimes against humanity in the world. So we are every year, every chance we have, we are trying to work with the international community, especially for UN human rights mechanisms, and want to find a way to making better conditions in North Korea.
Okay, very clear. So tonight we have our large event at Leiden University campus The Hague, and we hope a lot of people will come. But maybe you could tell us a little bit more about who will speak at the event and who you have brought with you on this particular trip, because some of our listeners might not be able to attend the event tonight.
You missed a chance. Like, if you are not coming, you missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Very true, very true.
Right. I mentioned one defector, Lee Byung-nim. Her son is in political prison camp now, and she has some experience of working for the supreme leader, the former supreme leader, the current Kim Jong-un's father. She used to work at that office, so she could see how leaders are controlling the people in North Korea. So she will giving testimony about it. And also we brought one more defector, Mr. Lee Young-hyun. He's a North Korean defector, and he's the first North Korean defector who became the lawyer in South Korea. So he will share his experience as a North Korean defector and also as a lawyer. He will share his stories. And we have some other people who were having internship with us before. We invited 2 of our former interns. Elena is now working at a Leiden Asian Center. So she's a researcher there. She had the internship with us 2 years ago. And I invited one more intern who recently finished his internship with us Sam will be coming and he will share his stories, his experience with PSCORE together. And now we have 2 more interns currently working in our Seoul office, working for the internships together. And we strongly encourage Leiden students to apply for PSCORE internship. I personally like the Leiden students. They are smart. They are really good interns, good students. So please apply for your internship to PSCORE coming to South Korea.
Okay, well, I'm very happy to hear that our students are doing so well when they do internships with PSCORE. And I'm also very proud that tonight's event is entirely organized by our students, and even more proud that we are once again able to have you as guests. And I hope that the same thing will happen next year and the years to come. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Nam.
Thank you very much.